Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to convert a standard MFJ Diplexer from SO239 to N connectors. I'll just go right out and say right now I absolutely detest SO239 PL259 connectors. I think they're garbage. I don't know why amateur radio has adopted them as like the only connector. They're horrible. I absolutely hate them. Anyways, I looked this Diplexer up online. Had pretty good reviews as far as most people saying that they sweep pretty decently. So based on that and the price, I said I'm gonna give this a try. So when I looked at the pictures online, I was trying to get an idea of what type of chassis connector was being used on this Diplexer, and from what I could tell, it looked like it was possibly a threaded chassis connector. So in preparation for that, I went ahead and purchased 3 of these N female connectors with the threaded collar. So let's crack this thing open and see what's actually inside of it. I think I paid $40 for this Diplexer, and the whole reason I'm doing this is going to be installed in my wife's car, and I like to standardize on N connectors if possible. I like SMA as well, but SMA is not great for a mobile environment, hence why I'm going to N. I've pretty much converted all of our mobiles already to N connectors as well, so I try to be consistent. Okay, alright, so the inside here, you can see that it's not a whole lot. Obviously it's some open air coils and some capacitors, and that's pretty much it. And it's essentially 2 bandpass filters. One's for the VHF side, one for the UHF side. So just a quick look here, I can see that this is a threaded, so I guessed correctly on these N connectors, it is threaded. Hopefully it's the same threading, hopefully it's not some bastardized metric or something like that, but we're gonna find that out when we go to convert this thing. But from what I can tell, it looks like they just soldered directly to them. And it's interesting, these are actually threaded. The center conductor is actually threaded on this, so I can only guess it was something MFJ got a whole bunch of at a good price, and that's what they used. I can also see that these has set screws. I'm guessing that's to keep this from turning in there. Looks like this one's already backed out. Let's see if I've got the right size here. Yep. Oh yeah, that one's definitely loose. Alright, so let's go ahead and loosen all 3 of these, since I'm already doing that. And from what I can tell here, that looks like a pretty bad cold solder joint actually. Alright, I'm going to move the camera so I can get a little better shot at the soldering part of this here. Alright, so first see, I believe this is just a blob of solder that they use to connect this from the board. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So I'm trying to show this on camera the best I can. Let me get a little bit of wick, get some of this excess solder. It's definitely cloudy, which tells me it was a cold solder joint from the beginning, which is never something you want to see. Okay, yep. Alright, that was enough. That was enough to, let's see if I can get the light over here a little bit better. That was enough to get that. And, oh, yeah. There we go. Came right out. So now you can look at this connector a little bit better. You can see that it actually is threaded. I'm guessing that's made so that they, you know, in some other application they could actually just attach the coax without solder, but using like a ring lug or something. It's kind of hokey, but anyways, came right out. I am gonna go ahead and wick away as much of this solder as I can, just because, like I said, it's basically a cold solder joint, and I'll just resolder the whole thing when I put the new connector in. Alright. Well, that's good enough to at least get a majority of the solder removed. Okay, now these other ones I can see where that one was just a blob of solder going to the connector. These two actually have components soldered directly to it. So what I'm basically have to do is be really careful to desolder that, and pull that cap leg up just slightly. Let me see here, because I definitely don't want to crack that cap. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to try and do here? I'll try and get this on camera. I'm going to try to heat that up and see if I can turn this connector. No, it's tight enough in there I can't do that. So let's see here. I'm going to try to turn it like this. See if I can use a flathead to just, as I'm heating this, gently lift this leg off of here. Yeah, like that. And now I can use some wick to clean up that excess solder. Let's see here. At the same time, I don't want to overheat any of these components any more than I have to. These little ceramic caps can be pretty fragile. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully you can see on camera there that there's a gap now between that cap and that cap leg and the center conductor. So what I've done here is I've just taken a pair of pliers and put some electrical tape on there just to hopefully not mar. I really don't care about these connectors. Okay, yeah, that came right out of there. Oh yeah, those are coming right out. So that's good. At least it's not really fighting us. I guess we'll go ahead and get this other third one off, and then we'll worry about putting the new connectors on all at one time. And since that worked pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and try to wick some of this solder away on this last one. Hopefully you can see on camera what I'm doing. Trying to show that anyways. Okay. And that was a majority of it. Try to get a little better perspective on it here. Yeah, there's definitely plenty more solder to come off of there. Let's see how much of that I can get off of there without getting too crazy here. Like I said, my big thing is I really just don't want to overheat anything too much. Okay, it looks like the cap is loose. Yes. Okay, the cap is loose, but the coil is not. So I think I'll do like I did before. Just heat that up, and I should be able to just move that away slightly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's hard to tell on camera, I'm sure, but the coil is now desoldered from that, and I should be able to just turn this, and yep, there we go, coming right out. Okay, so that's all three of the SO239 connectors have come loose. So let's go ahead and put the new end connector in. Okay, that's so I'm noticing it threaded in pretty easy initially, but then it's tightening up, so I'm wondering if the threading is actually different. So I'll see if I can. Again, I don't want to mar anything, and this may actually get to the point where it's tight enough where I can just kind of live with it. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to go much further. Went a little bit. Just making sure I'm not marring those threads at all, because that would kind of defeat the purpose here. Okay, that's pretty tight in there. Let's, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to risk that anymore. That's pretty tight, and it's definitely in there far enough where I can go ahead and solder these. And one thing I noticed, again, with the quality of this SO239, it's just some kind of, I don't know if it's a nickel plated or something, but it's definitely cheap. Whereas these end connectors are actually, I don't know if they're gold plated, but they're definitely better quality. So soldering to that should be very easy. So again, hopefully you can see, I'll try to hold that end angle there, you can see where both component legs are basically laying right there in position, so all I have to do is solder that now. And of course we'll use some fresh 6337 eutectic solder. Never use anything but that. I don't like 6040, and I would obviously never use anything acid core. You never want to use acid core on electronics. Acid core is specifically for things like plumbing, where you're doing pipe work, and that's something you would never use on electronics. Okay, so there's the first one. Alright, let's get this second one in here. And same thing, I think it's gonna, yeah, it's definitely a different thread, but that's okay. It's in there tight. Also, I'll tighten down these set screws to pin it in place, and that will ensure that it won't move around. All right, so let's go ahead and solder this one. Okay, before I forget, we'll go ahead and tighten down these set screws. Okay, that seems to be doing a pretty good job there. Make sure that one's snug. Okay. Alright, and last connector. I fully expect this one to do the exact same thing, where it will start going in easily and then kind of start to bind a little bit. Yeah, it's not sure if it's the thread or what, but yeah, okay. Well, it's, you said it's good enough. It's tight in there, so it's just a matter of making sure that it's not going to back out. And looks like these little set screws aren't bad. They're tightening up pretty nicely against it, holding it in place. So yeah, I don't expect that to go anywhere. Okay, I've changed my mind a little bit. I actually took a little bit of the solid number 12, and I was able to cut a little piece to fit in there. So what I'm going to do now is, first thing I'm going to do is heat up this solder that I already have here. See if I can use that to just kind of hold it in place initially. There we go. And then I need to flow some solder on the actual connection to the end connector itself. There we go. Now everything should just kind of flow cohesively. There we go. That's actually not bad. I've done worse. So hopefully you can see that on camera now. So now that's a good solid copper connection from the connector down to the pad on the board. Alright. Now I'm just gonna kind of turn this around one more time just so you can kind of see what I did here. Again, good solid solder connections, shiny, no cold joints. The components are solidly soldered to each one. And that looks pretty good. Now, I am going to clean up in here. I see some remnants of some stuff that was in here from when this was originally built at the factory. So I'm going to use a little 90% isopropyl alcohol. Just try to clean this up a little bit. Because one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you're soldering is that the flux that's used is corrosive. It's not as corrosive as say acid core solder, but this stuff can be corrosive, and over time it can eat away at the circuit board. So that's one of those things that you want to avoid, because essentially, I mean, in theory, I'm gonna close this thing up and hopefully never have to open it up again, you know, in theory. So I'm just gonna kind of clean up behind myself, and there, that looks significantly better than it did when I first opened it. So, okay. All right, and last thing I want to do is make sure that these set screws are tight. Yep. Okay, that looks pretty good. Everything's in there nice and tight. Okay. And pop these screws back on. And I would say we've successfully converted this diplexer over to N. I wish that I could have gotten these connectors to seat down all the way against the casing. Unfortunately, just the way that the threading is, I guess it's not quite standard. I don't know what the threading is. I didn't put a thread gauge on it. I guess I could do that, but there's kind of no point in that at this point, just because I don't have an easy way to re-thread those. And kind of at the ending point of this project, so I think I'm going to go with it. This will be, you know, permanently installed in my wife's car, and it'll be mounted in a way that nothing should shake loose or vibrate too much more, and you know, not much more than your standard you know, road vibration. So, anyways. Okay, that's it. Successfully converted to N female, and there you have it. Thanks for watching.